Okay, guys, I'm here with Wayne Lyons today. Wayne started working with me back in the fall in October. And since then, he has lost 38 pounds. And he's lost 38 pounds while also making good progress in the gym, going up on a lot of his lifts. And I'm just going to get right into it and ask Wayne some questions and let him share a little bit of his story and a little bit of his mindset, because I think, I called this last phase with Wayne magical, because each week just the results seemed to be coming so easy. And so I thought it would be, really inspirational for all of us to kind of hear about Wayne's mindset and what it takes for him to get up and make things happen each and every day, because he's been making it happen, that's for sure. So Wayne, first off, man, got anything you want to say? Tell us how you're doing today.
I'm doing pretty good today. Just finished up an upper body workout and some cardio and got back in. So I'm feeling really good today. Upper body days are, of course, I think most people's favorite.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
Yeah, I think everybody likes those. So so far, everything's going really well.
Good, man. You got a pump and the endorphins are flowing.
Yep.
Well, why don't you start off by explaining this? Tell me a little bit, tell everybody kind of what you were struggling with in your journey when we first started, because when we first started, you'd already made a good amount of progress on your own.
Yeah. Whenever I first started trying to lose weight, I was so focused on trying to nail everything absolutely perfectly. And if I didn't get it perfect, then I'd just kind of give up for the day. If I made one mistake, then I just kind of give up for the day and just think, well, I'll pick it up. Well, I can't pick it up on a Thursday. I'll have to wait till Monday. Have to always wait till the beginning of the next week. So never seemed to make any progress. I did for a while and then kind of stalled out at that same weight that we started at back in October. So it took me maybe a year to lose that much weight. I lost about 50 pounds, but then I stalled out for probably about 4 or 5 months and just couldn't seem to make it budge. So that's pretty much all it was I would just kind of give up for the day and then try to start back up the next week. I was following different diets that I thought would try to trick things and stuff like that. Trying to take all the fat out of my diet pretty much, using a bunch of artificial stuff, taking all the fat out of it, and just trying to get as much protein as I could. I remember there was one guy, I think he's worked with you before too, and I worked with him at the time back when I was trying to lose weight. His name was Zach Barnett. Um, he told me one day, he said, if you weren't so afraid of fat, you might make some gains. And
That's hilarious, man.
yeah, he was really good to work out with and stuff too. But it was just, that was my mindset at the time was, well, you can't lose weight if you're eating fat. So I would just try to cut all of it out. And so what kind of pushed me to working with you, Benji Whitehead had invited me to the group. And so I started seeing posts and things like that. And I got to the point where I just felt like I couldn't do it by myself anymore. I kind of reached that point to where I felt like I needed something else. And I knew I had to do something. So reached out to you and we got started. And I think that was kind of my journey. I grew up not really knowing a whole lot about fitness at all, not knowing a whole lot about nutrition. I played sports as a kid and stuff, and I was always a bigger kid. Played line and everything with football and played baseball and stuff like that. And so I was somewhat active just during that season. Worked outside and stuff with my dad, but all the time, like me and my dad would be trying to out eat each other. Like every meal we went to, we'd be seeing who could eat the most and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like how many breadsticks can you eat at Fazoli's and stuff like that? I've
It
been
was,
there.
yeah, we would try to do stuff like that. And it's at a certain point, I was like, no one wins doing this. No one's the real winner in these competitions. And then like even whenever I was trying to lose weight and stuff, and I had stalled out, there's some nights I'd go to bed and wouldn't be able to sleep because I'd have indigestion and stuff so bad.
Sure.
Had to take all kinds of medicine for it and everything just because the types of food I was eating. But I thought it was just something that I had to suffer through, like it was just part of me. Um, but that was my journey up until we got started.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people can probably relate to a lot of stuff you said there. I mean, first off, um, you follow fad diets, and not even like fad diets, but I mean, I can relate to like opening up a bodybuilding magazine in like 2008 or 2009 and saying, "Oh, like Jay Cutler tried this, maybe I need to try this." And so
Yep.
maybe you don't even think you're following a fad diet, but you're following what one individual did for a specific goal, and that goal may not be your goal. You're just following it because it seems like maybe a good idea. And like cutting out things is very common. In your case, you were cutting out fat. People will try to cut out sodium. They'll try to cut out gluten and all kinds of things, and maybe in their specific situation they don't need to. So, and then definitely, like I think a lot of people can probably get to a point where they're like you, and they're like, I'm just frustrated with trying to do this on my own. And you said you'd lost 50 pounds on your own, but then at some point, like what got you there won't keep you going.
Yeah.
And it's just a reality for all of us. We have to make an adjustment. And I guess speaking of an adjustment, so we started working together in October, and we did 12 weeks together. And in that 12 weeks, I think you lost, I'd have to go back and look for sure. I think it was about 18 pounds, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It
I
was
think,
18, 20, something like that.
yeah, I mean, it was a good progress. But I remember in that phase, there was a lot of like trying to figure things out, like kind of trial and error, especially with your exercises. Like I was, always start people out with like some basic stuff, and it's like, let's see if how this works for you, and like squats. And you made good progress on squats, and then deadlifts. We made good progress on deadlifts, and then here in this next phase, like you made that progress. We signed up and did another 12 weeks, and this last 12-week phase was like I said, it was magical. Like the results were even better. I feel like we substituted some of the exercises like squats for things that have worked even better for you. And like, what do you think made the progress better for you this time around, this second go around?
Honestly, I think a lot of it last time I was trying to learn how to make it fit into my lifestyle instead of making my lifestyle fit that.
Oh, that's good.
So I was trying to, well, if I have time, I'll squeeze that workout in. If I can take time to meal preps, then I'll make sure I get that done and stuff like that. So I was trying to make it fit in with what I was already doing. That way it didn't change too much,
Mhm.
and didn't impact my life a whole lot. But once I got in the mindset to where I was like, no, if I'm going to be serious about this and actually get results, I need to put this first. Then I started actually making some progress and stuff. So, and a lot of that too was, I think trying to get to learn how to do a lot of the exercises. There were a few new ones I hadn't tried. I had a weightlifting class in college at Northeast State, and so I learned a lot there. Not necessarily about nutrition, because that was basically like eat a lot of vegetables was pretty much all we were told, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not bad advice, but it wasn't anything about macros and calories or anything like that.
yeah.
Um, but as far as the exercises, I'd learned a lot. But like I said, I was learning how to do a lot of exercises during that last 12-week phase, trying to fit it into my lifestyle instead of changing my lifestyle to fit it. And then also, I was again trying to hit everything perfect as far as the nutrition goes. I was trying to follow the meal plan exactly, and I get frustrated easily whenever something doesn't go to plan. So if I would say, all right, I'm having this for dinner, and then so I would plan all my other meals around what I was going to have for dinner, but then I get home and uh, and nothing against my wife at all, of course, but she'd say, well, I don't feel like having that for dinner tonight, and I'd be like, I would just be so tore up
Yeah.
and get so stressed out. So I'm like, I've planned my whole day around this.
Yep.
And so I've had to let go of that and kind of keep dinner flexible. Because you told me, because I think I expressed that to you at one point. I said that's the hardest part of this is trying to eat different things than my wife is. Like if I want to stick to something, um, or her not wanting to eat the same stuff or whatever. And but then you said, well, if I'm on a cut, I try to make it to where my wife doesn't even know. Like as long as it's not too high in fats and carbs, I'll eat it and then make it up with another meal afterwards. And after you told me that, it made it so much easier. I stopped getting so stressed out about trying to make sure everything was perfect. So I made
Your
dinner
wife
kind of
was happier
flexible.
too.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, because I don't think she was on board whenever I was first doing it because it was just such a huge drastic change, and I was just stressed out a lot trying to make sure everything was absolutely perfect.
Sure.
And with this phase, um, like I said, I've been more flexible with stuff. I've made sure I took the time to do things, especially these last 4 weeks, other than yesterday. Uh, I made sure I woke up and went to the gym in the morning and got the workout in because something always happens later in the day. You can't always count on being able to go hit it right after work or something like that.
That's
So
100% true, man. Like, and what you said is like perfect, especially, I mean, and you're not a dad at the
no,
moment, at least, but like anyone that's just you don't have to be a dad or a parent. Anyone that's like a grown adult knows life happens, stuff comes up, and you're not always going to be able to have that perfect meal that you had planned, like you said, or you know, something may come up after work. You can't hit that workout after work like you'd planned. So, yeah, being able to, like you said, fit your workout or fit your lifestyle into the plan and make them mesh is what's going to make any plan work. Along with communication, and you touched on that. You communicated, the struggle, and if you wouldn't have told me that, I could have never been like, oh man, let's make this adjustment. Because
yeah,
you know stuff comes up, and speaking of though, what you said with training early because stuff may come up later in the day. Um, you like to hit it early at 5 a.m. You work out down here at Anytime Fitness. And one thing I have a lot of people tell me is that, man, Doug, how do you wake up at 5 a.m.? I don't feel like it. Or I tried it a couple of times and I was so tired the rest of the day, I couldn't stand it. Like, tell me what's going through your head each morning when your alarm clock goes off. Like, what time does your alarm clock go off? What's your mentality when you wake up? Are you always like motivated to get after it, or is motivation a part of this? Just kind of share your mindset.
I think you can't always depend on motivation, and I don't because it's not always going to be there. So my alarm clock now goes off at 4. I used to try to make it go off at 4:45 to try to make it to the gym by 5 because I do live like 3 minutes away from Anytime Fitness. So I live really close. I can get there quick. But and then I'd back it up to 4:30, and it was just more and more often that I would hit snooze. And then I
Mhm.
ended up waking up and trying to leave the house at like 10:15 after 5 and try to make it back by 6, and that was not working.
Yeah,
So
that's stressful.
yeah, it was very stressful. So I backed it up to 4. And I told somebody once, I said, I go so early and try to get there so quick after waking up. That way I don't have time to talk myself out of it. Because there's always, something else like, well, I could go ahead and get a little bit more sleep. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night and stuff. And I used to focus a lot on, like, I didn't want to go to the gym in the morning if I didn't get 7.5 hours of sleep the night before.
Mhm.
And which you need to get enough sleep. But I stopped caring as much about that. And then I actually started getting much better sleep because I would make sure I hit the workouts and everything. So,
So consistent. Your body's like, yeah, it's
right.
sleep time.
Yep. And I think that was a lot of it too, was at first it was waking myself up, dragging myself out of the bed, didn't really want to do it. But then once you start seeing results, you stop thinking about short term um, comfort, I guess, and you start thinking about long term goals. And you have to take your mindset out of what's currently going on and try to think about how this is going to benefit you in the future. And then once you do that and you make progress for a couple weeks, actually being consistent with it, then it just kind of becomes second nature.
Dude, that's perfect, because that's exactly my thing is like, when Arnold, I always talk about what Arnold says, because I don't care. I know he's popular, but like the stuff he says still applies. Like, we have to say, what are you hungrier for? And like,
Yep.
I love that you like kind of alluded to this. It doesn't really matter how you're feeling. If you have a goal, you have to have a vision and take the steps it takes. And so you started waking up earlier, because you identified the problem. I'm getting to the gym, at 5:15. I can't do this. I'm having to rush. And you took the action because you have a vision. And so I think a lot of people need to hear that. And I think too many people just expect it to be easy. Like, I can say, like, I go at 5. I don't always feel like going at 5, but once I go, I'm never regretted it. I'm so glad I did. And I'm ready to sleep at night. I sleep great, and I wake up, and as soon as my alarm clock goes off, I'm excited. I hit the floor because I look forward to it. And, here's the thing, guys, when you're making results or getting results like Wayne's been getting, that creates like a snowball effect, doesn't it? Like,
Oh yeah.
and I think the people that are putting in the work and they're not seeing the results because they're not eating properly, and they're not, like you said, getting enough sleep all the time, like, that's going to hinder your results and kind of cancel out all your hard work. And that's frustrating. So yeah, Wayne's been able to get the results because when he has a problem, he identifies the problem and, makes the right adjustments. Well, I guess that kind of leads me to this, man. Like, what tips do you have for someone who's struggling with maybe cheating on their diet too much on the weekend, or struggling with like saying, I deadlifted 600 pounds, I'm gonna go have like 42 wings, or this kind of mentality that we see a lot from like the bros in the gym, and they're in there all the time, but they're just not seeing the results that they feel like they should be making. They're not getting the return on investment. What advice would you have for them?
I think Solomon probably gave the best advice, talking about how deceptive your heart is and your emotions and your feelings and stuff. Because a lot of times we feel like we deserve a reward. We did all this, so we emotionally eat because we think, well, not even emotionally, it's just we take all the logic out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we take all the calculation out and we deceive ourselves. And there's a guy at work that says all the time, he said, every human has the same superpower. It's to justify anything.
Oh yeah.
And if we try hard enough, we can justify anything that we do. So it's actually thinking logically and, calories in, calories out, looking at it that way and just doing the math on it. And not saying don't care about how good how good something tastes. Obviously, you can make stuff taste good, even if it doesn't have 500 calories and 10 grams of protein in it,
Yeah.
So I think my advice definitely would be, you can always go harder than you think you can. Don't sell yourself short. You can resist that temptation. I think a lot of it's community, staying with people, talking to people that are like-minded. I was thinking about this earlier, is, we think about our sin nature and how we overcome that with our faith and everything. One, of course, is the trust in Christ, but then again, we can't forsake the congregation of other believers and to stick around with them. And it's kind of the same thing with fitness too. You've got to surround yourself with like-minded people that
Yep.
share similar goals.
Yep.
Otherwise, if you can't do it by yourself. And even though it's just you in the gym, sometimes, like, I hardly ever have anybody go in with me. Pretty much in there by myself every time. But you've got to make sure, like people like Ronnie, he was messaging me one day on Facebook, and I was like, I think Ronnie'd be all some people would need,
Yeah,
And,
everybody needs a Ronnie in their life, man. If
yeah,
you're in my Facebook group, which I've got two. I've got one for my athletes only, like Wayne. I've got one that's for anyone that wants to join. But yeah, you've probably seen Ronnie Byers leave a comment. The most encouraging guy, and he just, you know, it's I feel like uplifted every time I see him inspiring other people in there. And like, I think a lot of us go to the gym by ourselves with no desire to ever have I mean, sometimes I'd like to have a workout partner, but I just know reality is like, if I have a 45-minute workout, it would take me an hour and a half or 2 hours with the partner. And that's not in my time budget, you know?
Yeah.
You're in the same boat, Wayne, because you got to wake up and get to work, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you got to find the people in your life in other ways, whether it's people at work or people in a group, whatever, to support you. Because yeah, I completely agree with what you said, and I like the parallel you gave there with, you know, a Christian, a believer needing to go to church and be around other believers and have that community aspect in your life and discipleship, because I know that's definitely like the way God intended us to live, not be isolated.
Mhm.
But man, like, you got an awesome story, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but overall you've lost 38 pounds since October. And that was after losing 50 pounds on your own before. So you do the math, you've lost 88 pounds on your fitness journey. And the cool thing about Wayne, guys, he's, you know, he'll hit a new goal and then he'll see how close he is to another goal and he'll go tackle it. And so we've got a new goal in sight. And yeah, I just wanted to interview Wayne because, you know, I have a lot of clients get results, but some people just really you feel a connection with, and you feel like they're connected with the program, they're communicating well with you, and the results they get are just even above the norm. And so I wanted to interview Wayne and let you guys hear about his mindset and his mentality. And he gave some really good words of wisdom here today. So man, I appreciate you hopping on this morning on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, glad to. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, man. I tell you, this was good. We might have to do this again sometime. But guys, just like leave a comment below of what your biggest takeaway was from Wayne. He had a lot of good nuggets in here. And I think I'm going to reuse some of these in some content because like I said, a lot of people are struggling with things that Wayne struggled with. And I think you could get some really incredible value from what he said today. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you later.